The final drop-off. Gary had driven the same school bus route for 20 years. He knew every pothole, every turn, and every kid's stop. He knew which families put out the pumpkins in October and which ones put out Christmas lights in December. He was a creature of habit, and his route was his routine. The last stop of the day was always the same: the old Miller farm at the end of a long, winding dirt road. A boy named Billy, quiet and small for his age, was the last to get off. One autumn evening, a heavy fog rolled in, thick and gray, making it hard to see more than a few feet in front of the bus. The last of the usual kids had gotten off, and it was just Gary and little Billy. But as they approached the Miller farm, Gary noticed something was wrong. The cornfields on either side of the road were dark and still. No wind rustled the dry stalks. The bus reached the stop, and Billy, without a word, stood up and walked to the front. He stood by the open door but didn't move to get off. "Go on, Billy," Gary said, his voice echoing in the quiet bus. Billy turned, and in the dim light of the bus, his face was pale, his eyes wide and vacant. "They don't know I'm coming," he whispered, his voice thin and reedy. Gary, unnerved, cleared his throat. "It's late, Billy. Your folks are probably waiting for you." Billy didn't respond. He just stared past Gary out into the swirling fog. Gary looked into his side view mirror, and his blood ran cold. He saw the kids' faces looking back at him from the back of the bus. But he had just dropped them off, and the bus had been empty for a full 10 minutes. Their faces were pale and indistinct in the fog, but he could hear them. Faintly at first, then growing louder, their voices began to chant. "He knows, he knows, he knows." Gary slammed his foot on the brake, and the bus shrieked to a halt. He twisted around to look, but the seats were empty, the bus a hollow, echoing chamber. When he turned back, Billy was gone. The bus door was still open, and the fog poured in like a ghostly tide, bringing with it a low, rhythmic scratching sound from beneath the bus. He had heard the scraping before, late at night in the dark parking lot at the end of his shift. He had always blamed it on the old bus's worn parts, but now he knew better. He knew who made that sound. And then, his headlights flashed, illuminating something in the field. A scarecrow, he had thought, but as the lights caught it again, he saw it was more than just a scarecrow. It was a figure shrouded in rags with long, twisted hands made of splintered wood. Its head was a burlap sack, and written on it in faded, rusty letters were the words, "Silas." Farmer's scary story. And suddenly, the scratching from underneath the bus stopped. It was replaced by a single, deliberate knock coming from the back door. Gary didn't move. He sat frozen, staring into his rear-view mirror at the empty seats, waiting. He had driven this route for 20 years, but tonight, the last drop-off was just the beginning. He knew with a certainty that chilled him to the bone that the rattling at the back door wasn't just another sound. It was his